Whoops. I mean, that is just downright disrespectful. Robert, you cannot do that to grown men. That man could be someone's father. And please don't do it again. Stop smiling and don't do it again. Arsene Wenger's French corps in the late 90s and early 2000s was spearheaded by Vieira and Henry. Rightly so, they were absolute class. But what about Robert Pires, the guy with over 150 goal contributions during Arsenal's golden era? The guy who, oh no, he did it again. What's the point? Clearly he had no respect for opponents, but we'll talk about that later. If I was to ask you for your top 3 Arsenal players of all time, I really doubt you would include him. He may even struggle to get into your top 10 list, but why is that? Why is Pires so underrated and underappreciated? Well, let's take a deep dive into Pires' career. No, not that kind of dive. The real scientifical dive into his career. Demi Rooney. How good was he? How good was Robert Pires? Pires was born in Reims, France, to a Portuguese father and a Spanish mother. We all know Pires as a French international, but surprisingly, he did not speak the language and had trouble interacting at school since his parents only spoke Spanish and Portuguese back home. It is a bit divided in terms of football as well. He had to support and constantly wear jerseys from both Benfica and Real Madrid, his father a Benfica fan and mother being from Spain. At the age of 15, Pires left school to pursue a career in football. He represented the Reims and Metz academies before graduating to the latter's first team. He spent 6 seasons with the French club, scoring 42 goals in 161 matches in the league and winning a French League Cup, the first of many trophies he was going to win during his elite career. Out of the 42 league goals he scored for Metz, 33 of them came in his last 3 seasons there, which attracted the interest of several clubs including Marseille. Also, this was the table the season before they signed him for £5 million. Metz finished 11 points ahead of Marseille. Like, if that wasn't going to convince Marseille to sign him, then this definitely was. Pires was part of the Leblanc squad that won the 1998 World Cup, starting once and coming on as a substitute twice. Back to Marseille we go. In his time there between 1998 and 2000, he only missed 2 league games, but that is just a quarter of the story. His first season went quite well until the final month of the campaign, which saw Marseille miss out on the league title by just 1 point, and they also lost the UEFA Cup final to Parma. No, not just losing, convincingly losing 3-0 in the final. Listen, no problem though, it was just his first season there, so I cannot blame Pires for thinking, you know what, next season we might go a step further and win the title and maybe even win the Champions League. But was he right? Oh my goodness, nope. He was wrong. He was very wrong. Yep, you are not seeing your own things. That is certainly 15th position, from 2nd to 15th. And to make it worse, the league had only 18 teams back then, and also they actually missed out from relegation by just a goal difference of 2. The rest of the table was even weird. I mean, look at the whole table. From 5th place Lens to Marseille, there was a difference of only 7 points. So basically, if there was like 5 more games, there was a chance of moving from 15th to like 4th or 3rd. Crazy. Maybe that is why they call it the Farmers League. I'm just joking. I was just joking, but this clearly was so chaotic. So chaotic that Pires decided to boycott the club, and this is where Arsene Wenger steps in to save the day. But before that, Pires had another international tournament to bring back home, this time Euro 2000. Back-to-back titles for a formidable French side. Pires had a huge role to play in the final of that tournament. Despite not starting the game and not even coming on for the 90 minutes, he came on in extra time. And he didn't actually come on as a left winger, he came on as a left back. A new role for him, but did it work? It certainly worked. This is what happened next.
Brilliant drinking run from the substitute, and it's Cesc!
A genius move from the coach, to be honest. In the summer of 2000, Pires signed alongside fellow Euros winner Wiltord, joining Thierry and Vieira, who were both already part of the French corps at Arsenal, and both of those players were actually in the Euro 2000 team of the tournament, so clearly Wenger was building something. £6 million was all the Gunners had to pay for the Frenchman's services, a decent replacement for the now departed Marc Overmars. In his first season with Arsenal, he divided opinion amongst fans after he made comments about English football being too physical. He scored his first goal against Lazio in the Champions League and managed to score for the first time against Spurs, the first of 8 strikes he got against the North London rivals. At the end of that season, he had 10 goals in 51 appearances. The next season was a major success for Pires, individually and team-wise. Despite picking up a cruciate ligament injury at the end of the season, Pires led the assist charts with 15, won the Player of the Season for Arsenal, and was voted Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year in only his second season. In addition to that, he assisted Bergkamp's goal of the season. I mean, I know we're talking about Pires, but my goodness me, Dennis Bergkamp, how the hell did you do that? I mean, wow, when you see skill like that, it's not a surprise to hear that Arsenal completed the league and cup double that season. That injury for Robert Pires, though, meant he missed the FA Cup final and unfortunately the 2002 World Cup as well. We all know how that tournament ended up for France. Maybe even worse than Marseille a couple of years previously. But picking up all those awards while missing 10 Premier League games was still very special from Pires. Another positive was obviously scoring against Tottenham once again. He returned from injury in November of the next season but still managed 14 goals in the Premier League. He won Player of the Month for February and scored the winning goal in the FA Cup against Southampton. I should probably mention that he scored at White Hart Lane again. 3 of the 14 goals he scored in that season completed a hat-trick against Southampton. I bring that up because that was the match that commenced the iconic 49-game unbeaten run. Speaking of the unbeaten run, up stepped the 2003-2004 season. Now, Pires and Henry were absolutely instrumental, scoring a combined 57 goals in all competitions. Pires himself featured in 36 of the 38 Premier League games, matching his 14 league goals from the previous season. Only Henry scored more goals than him that campaign. He also assisted 7 times, and that could only be matched by Bergkamp. His sublime skills, finishing and partnership with Ashley Cole on the left really stood out more and more. Even when he wasn't involved in the goals, he played a crucial role in opening spaces for the runners to get one-on-one opportunities several times. And you guessed it, he also added a couple of goals against Tottenham, this time scoring home and away. Now, obviously, in terms of team accolades, that would have been impossible to match the next season. But in terms of individual, Pires still got another 14 league goals in the 2004-2005 campaign, and he finished 3rd in the Premier League top scorer chart, and also added FA Cup silverware to his collection, the 2005 FA Cup. And you guessed it again, he scored once more against Tottenham, this time in a crazy 5-4 game. Before we go into what turned out to be his last season with Arsenal, let's take a look at his achievements and numbers between 2000 and 2005. 239 appearances in those 5 seasons, 76 goals from the left wing, 53 assists. Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year in the 2001-2002 season. He was included in the PFA Team of the Year 3 times in a row between 2001 and 2004. To add to that, 2 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, 2 Community Shields, and goal after goal after goal against Tottenham, 7 to be specific. He also helped France win a couple of more trophies, this time 2 Confederation Cups in 2001 and 2003, winning the Golden Ball and the Golden Shoe in the 2001 edition. Added to that, the World Cup and the Euros he won before joining Arsenal. A very healthy CV, but he would have noticed that there's one major trophy that wasn't part of his accolades yet. That takes us nicely to the 2005-2006 season, the final season at Highbury. Pires Pires' start to the campaign was a bit poor, and that wasn't helped by this bizarre penalty against Manchester City. That went down as a penalty miss as well. Arsenal enjoyed a remarkable run in the Champions League, going 10 games without conceding a goal on their way to the final. Interestingly, in the quarter-final against Juventus, a certain Patrick Vieira returned to Highbury and was tasked with keeping an eye on Pires. Pires' tackle on Patrick actually led to the first goal of that tie. Friends no more, I guess. This brings us to the 2006 Champions League final, Barcelona against Arsenal. 10 games without conceding a goal. Yes, it's Barcelona, but Arsenal have already eliminated Real Madrid and Juventus on their way to Paris. Surely nothing will go wrong. Despite a tough season for Pires, he started this game, so nothing was gonna go wrong surely. Oh man, that's what we thought. I mean, I promise you it wasn't meant to end this way. But unfortunately, everything went wrong. Jens Lehmann was sent off after less than 20 minutes and Pires was sacrificed for Almunia. A shocking Thierry Henry performance and 2 late Barcelona goals later, and Arsenal's golden era had ended without a Champions League trophy. Now we all know that still haunts us until today. Whenever you're watching this video, it ended up being a season to forget for Pires, as Arsene Wenger preferred Ljungberg, Reyes and Kleb in the wide areas. Upon his departure in June of 2006, he had this to say: "I have had some disappointments this season. I was on the bench very often. Wenger's decision to withdraw me in the Champions League final showed that he did not trust me anymore." Almost a year later, he also added this: "I was very disappointed. When I saw my number on the 4th officials board to be substituted, I couldn't believe it. It was my last game after 6 years at the club. A Champions League final in front of all my family in Paris, where I became World Cup champion, and it lasted just a few minutes. That was very, very hard to take." Pires went on to play for Villarreal, Aston Villa and Indian side FC Goa. He was a great ambassador, as that was the first season for the Indian Super League, so he did great there. He even got to feature against Arsenal in the 2009 Champions League quarterfinals when he was playing for Villarreal. A career filled with a lot of highs and a couple of really low points. If you're lucky enough to get to watch Pires live, I hope this video brought back some great memories. A bit of reminiscing, and if you're part of the newer generation of Arsenal fans, I hope this video taught you a couple of things about Robert Pires. He was absolute class. Pires had a couple of really standout seasons at Arsenal, and other Arsenal players have also managed to achieve the same. Maybe not in terms of success, but in terms of individual records in a particular season, we've had a couple. So click on the video on screen to take a look at Arsenal's top 5 individual seasons during the Emirates era. You've been watching Everything Arsenal. Stay safe, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.